Was Veronica going to be here today?
No, she's going to IKEA.
That's right. Hello, everyone. We will get started in just a minute. Looks like maybe everyone is here. That was there.
Yep, I think
Okay.
everyone from the waiting room is here.
Okay. What I can tell you is that it has been one of those crazy weeks. And we're Beth and Ivy are just now leaving to head over to I'm gonna spotlight us.
Yep.
Have just left to head over to SSK. Actually, they're going home, spend the night, and then they'll drive over tomorrow, but it's been packing up and getting things sorted, and samples weren't back
From a trunk show.
So we had to have those overnighted, which no problem, but it happened. And it's just all of those.
We shipped for a show in Seattle in 2 weeks, but we had to ship yesterday, so we were getting all of that ready earlier in the week and boxed. And
so yeah, it's been really sort of crazy. So we will do a show and tell. If you we will turn the recording off when we do that after I finish talking and so on and so forth. So if you want to go grab whatever you're working on, if you don't have it already in your hands, and have it ready. Sorry. So what's coming up? What is coming up is two things tomorrow.
Yep.
Two things. So the first is we're kicking off our Melanie Berg Beachy Keen knit along, and that will be we'll cast on, or if you've already cast on, that's all right, but we'll be starting that at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And that's so that hopefully people from across the US and perhaps internationally can join us. And so we'll be doing that. And we will answer lots of questions. We'll have demos. We also have some demo videos and be able to talk about techniques and just simply answer questions and talk about it from a number of different ways, and people can talk about their favorite way of doing ends and all of that sort of thing. And it's been interesting to find out that there are even more ways to deal with ends than I knew about. So we'll talk about that tomorrow.
And that'll be a special series of Zooms. I've just put a link in the chat. And as part of that link, you can, so that link is to sign up for the emails that we'll send out with the recorded Zooms. And on that newsletter sign up page, there's a link to register for the Zooms themselves. So there are two different pieces. You can register for one or both, whichever you prefer.
Okay, so the coffee went down the wrong pipe.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I didn't do was say, I'm Babs. Hi,
Babs.
And this is Helen. So bad to just sort of jump right in. The other thing that's happening tomorrow is Casapinka's mystery knit along is kicking off. She is currently hiking the pilgrimage route in France. You want to pronounce all of this?
Santiago de Compostela. It's actually a Spanish,
right?
So I assume that's maybe kind of close, Santiago de Compostela, but I don't speak Spanish, so yeah, I could be wrong.
Okay,
sorry guys.
And so the theme of this year's knit along is Sharon on the trail. Casapinka and her son are doing the hiking, while Sharon apparently is at the Interpol handling some kind of secret project.
You know how involved she is in international security.
I know. So, but there is a coloring sheet available for planning for the knit along. So before we go any further, I want to show you, I jumped right over samples and just show you some of the sets that we've put together. I'm sure many of you have seen Melanie Berg's
original colorway for Beachy Keen, which is the Mojave Flora with Sycamore and Dark Pegasus. And because that is incredibly popular, we don't have one here to show you. We sent everything we had out today to fill in all the pre-orders we had.
Right. So more is in process, but we just don't have it in sets. So here are some other ideas. If you haven't bought sets at this point, this is the Pfeiffer Beach set, and it uses white peppercorn and or plover, white peppercorn and lurch as the background colors. And what I find interesting with this shawl is that it uses two main colors rather than just one. So it really enriches the appearance of the shawl, I think.
Yeah.
So,
and it's fun because the colors, the gradient colors look a little bit different depending on which contrast color they're up against. So when you've gotten used to the first contrast color and then you change to the second, you get a whole new look again to be playing with.
This is the set that I'm doing, which is the shaved ice, because I don't know, I like pinks and purples and blues. So, and it uses slate and quicksilver as the background colors. So that's
and as always, the colors on this Zoom call are not as accurate as one might like, but I've put the link for the sets on the website in the chat if you want to go see a clearer representation of the colors.
right. This is another set that is an interesting, it's Fun in the Sun, which goes along with Beachy Keen.
Yep.
And uses quicksilver again and pewter as the backgrounds. So you get a really different look from one part to the other. The other thing is if you want us to change one of these, we're happy to do that.
We've had people say, I just want, you know, 2 pewter and no quicksilver, or can you send 2 other, you know, I like this set of background colors and this set of gradient, and we're happy to make that kind of change.
So we do stuff like that all the time.
Yep.
Then moving on to Casapinka's knit along. This is the set that she is using for her
Shawl.
for her
project.
original project. And so it uses Ruchba floofy tail
Through hike and paw
prints. So they're very mellow colors. I have not seen the shawl. I don't know what the shape is.
Nope. And there's some mention of circumference in the planning sheet. So I wouldn't even swear it's a flat shawl at this point.
Right. But this is, you want a contrast color to work with the different colors. And it needs to work with all 3 colors.
Well, she said this one is very flexible. The main instruction was no variegated, no strongly variegated, but she said if you have a 4-color fade or 4 totally separate colors that you like that play nicely together, pretty much anything goes for this one, as long as there's no strongly variegated color.
So we've put together sets based on that sort of thing. This is one that I particularly like, and Helen and I have some very similar favorite colors, and these adobe-ish colors are in that family.
Absolutely.
This is another nice one. It's got blue mussel and hydrangea and plover in it. So fog bound. We also made up some yet quartets, and the yet quartets are a little less expensive, and yet is a heavy lace and it knits up nicely, and it's one of my all-time very favorite bases. It lasts, it holds up well. I've got shawls that are 15 years old that I'm still wearing in this base, and they're still look great. So anyway, this is a set that we put together in that as well. And
we also have a selection of Avon and Caroline sets. I don't think
I didn't
we
grab
brought
it.
any over here, but we do have those if you're wanting a more luxury base.
So here's, a little different color combination. So there's, speckles seem to be okay. And then of course, we have to have some purple for the purple people. So that's a nice set as well. Okay.
Thank you, Pamela. We have a lot of fun putting the sets together, and it's always nice to know that people enjoy looking at them and find one that they like.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite things to do, is putting samples to the sets together. Let's see. So SSK is coming this weekend, which is Super Summer
Knit Together.
And it is in Nashville. It is a retreat that is Laura and
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Lala. Yeah. Anyway, Laura and
someone else.
Yes. So they do this Super Summer Knit Together and have been for, I don't know, 8 years, maybe.
It's been quite some time.
The truck is all packed. Beth has left for home, and it is open on Saturday for retreat attendees from 9 until 12. And then if you're in the Nashville area, it's open to the public from 1 to 4. And there's an entry fee of $5 to get into the marketplace. Also coming up,
it's nonstop.
Yeah, it's been a nonstop year. A Likely Yarn trunk show in Abingdon, Virginia will be coming up on July 28th through August 6th. And I would say it's probably safer to say what we're not taking than what we are taking, because they would like a broad
range of bases, and they are within driving distance of the studio, which means it's easier for us to bring more, because we can stage things at my house and then have a little caravan from my house to the shop to get all the boxes there, and we can restock midweek if necessary. So it's a good show with a lot of selection. Yeah,
so it's really local. For us, it is 40 minutes away, I would say. And in fact, we took all the staff in June. We went out and had lunch on the way up. A lot of our staff have never been to a yarn store. And so we thought it was time to get them to a yarn store so they could see how yarn is displayed and how people look at it. And
also see yarn that's not our yarn or the yarn you get at Walmart. Because if you don't go to a yarn store, those are kind of the two things you see, and you don't see the cascades and the brand names that I can't think of right now, Noro, the medium yarn brands that
Right,
a lot of people, they're the workhorse yarns.
right. Exactly. And so we did that, and that was a very successful road trip. And we try to do things to educate our staff. Also coming up in the near future is Flock Fiber Fest in Seattle, Washington. I don't know if anybody's out that way, but Veronica and Helen, this is the one show Helen is going to be at this year. And they are going out for Flock Fiber Fest on August 4th through 6th. We've already shipped the majority of the yarn to Seattle. We're going to send another box, but we're also trying to figure out if UPS strikes, how should we, what's going to happen? Do we need to ship
earlier? Probably.
Right. And so it's just sort of, that's an interesting take on what's going to be happening coming up. I would hope that they figure this out, because so many of us rely on UPS on public carriers to get stuff to us. And if UPS strikes, then FedEx is going to be backed up. The Postal Service is going to be backed up. So it'll be an interesting thing to see how we navigate all of this. Let's see. It is my understanding this is the first show of Flock Fiber Fest.
Yeah.
And there are tickets still available, apparently.
I think they've sold out of the Saturday pre-order tickets, but there will be tickets available at the door. There's a limit of 1,000 people in the event space. So the at the door tickets will kind of be dependent on how many people are already there. They're suggesting you bring a project just in case there's a bit of a wait time, but they said they don't expect there to be a long delay for anyone who shows up to be able to get in.
Okay.
And the Saturday and Friday tickets are still available for pre-order.
Okay. Good. Okay. Let's see. We're taking for Flock, we're taking a more limited cross section of yarn: Yowza, 2-ply, Avon, Katahdin, Moon Glow, of course, gradient sets and many bundles. Tart. Veronica is knitting a sweater in
Coral, I think.
Yes, for the summer Flock knit along. They're doing a knit along. And it's Salty Air by Samantha Guerin in Coral. We'll also be taking Sojourn Damask and Cupcake. And I didn't bring, yes, I didn't bring any cupcake, but we do have Cupcake back in. It is a yarn that has flecks of other colors in it. And so it's a very
it's a tweedy look.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun yarn. It adds a little something to the monochromatic color.
Right. And it is a true worsted. So it's a great sweater yarn. And Ivy knit a sweater last year in Quicksilver.
Yep.
And it turned out great. So we do have that on again this year.
And as with last year, we have a limited color range, and we'll probably keep dyeing those colors as needed until we probably stop around December dyeing more, and then we'll bring it back again next year.
Right. Exactly. So the other thing that's coming is that our professional photographer, is coming from DFW next week, and will be doing photos of our fall collection, which will be coming out in early September this year. And so we'll be giving you some behind the scenes photos in the next week or two on Instagram and that sort of thing. Okay. And I don't know if you've seen Instagram today, but this little jewel, which is a sock ruler, we actually sold a whole bunch of them
Yes.
today, but it goes like this. And on one side, it has
A regular ruler.
and centimeters. And then on the other side, it has sock sizes for men and women and children. And so Helen is working on a sock right now. So
Yep. And the cool thing about this is where you stop knitting your foot. This isn't the total length. So, you usually leave about 2 inches. So I am currently knitting this sock for a friend with size 11 feet. And so if
a woman or a man?
A woman.
Wow.
She's very tall.
Yes.
So I can look at the ruler and see that I need to knit a little bit further still before I get to start the toe. But you don't have to carry an actual ruler. You don't have to keep looking up how long is a size 11 woman's foot in inches. And since it's a slap bracelet, it rolls up to a nice size and you can tuck it in your knitting bag. And it's got a rubberized coating on it, so it's fairly durable. And I think it's a very nifty, handy tool.
Right. And we've already ordered more.
Yes, we have more that will be in a week or two because we're almost sold out of what I ordered a week ago.
Right. So they're coming.
Pamela, you asked if the fall collection will be going to Fiberspace. Absolutely. We usually plan the timing of the fall collection for the Fiberspace trunk show to make sure we'll
absolutely.
be able to bring it.
And the Fiberspace trunk show is a little bit later, like a week later, it seems to me.
I am looking it up.
Right.
It is Fiberspace 22nd, September 22nd through the 24th.
Right. So it is just a little later than some years. It's been earlier some years. So hopefully a little bit cooler than some years. But we will be doing that on Friday and Saturday. I won't be staying for Sunday this year. So, okay. And let's see. Question to Helen.
Sure.
So coming up, this is a small group, so small group gets to find out. We're going to be discontinuing a yarn because we're going to be bringing in a yarn that we're actually, we're very excited about. And we're going to be discontinuing our Yummy 3-ply. So
it's had some production errors for the last little while, and we've had to cull quite a bit. So as much as we love it, because we found another yarn that we love just as much, we thought, okay, we're happy to do this.
Right. So we found another sport weight, and it works really well with other people's sport weights as well. So some of the spin cycle.
Yeah, Lynn knit the pressed flowers cowl using our new sport weight and the spin cycle. I think it's a fingering weight they classify it, but they play nicely together.
Right. It went together very well. So that's coming up. So next Thursday, it will be going on sale. So just heads up. And if you're thinking about some sweater quantities, it might be time.
Yeah.
So I also do socks out of 3-ply. So I've got a drawer full of
I've
socks.
knit a couple pairs as well.
Yeah.
It's great
Yeah.
for socks, and they go a little bit faster because it's a little bit bigger.
Right. And it's also good if you're teaching someone how to knit socks, because it goes fast, and it is because of its size, it's a little more, people are not as intimidated by the yarn. So, do you have a technique for this week?
No,
Okay.
sorry, I didn't prepare anything. It's been one of those days where I feel like I'm running around with my head
Right.
cut off and just
Right.
didn't have a time to think about it. How about
Okay.
you, Babs?
No, I have nothing.
Okay, we'll call the sock ruler our
Yes,
technique corner,
okay.
because it's a technique you can
Right.
use to measure your socks.
So before we move on to show and tell, does anybody have any questions about us, about what's coming, anything related to anything?
Yeah.
And you can feel free to unmute and ask questions. Okay.
Priscilla, I like the cat behind your head. She's very nice.
So we're going to, are you doing okay with the rain and heat? Okay, so one of the beautiful things about where we live is that we're actually about 3,200, 2,800. I've got it on my phone, 2,800 feet up. And Boone is 32, I think. So yeah.
2,418.
Yeah. So it's actually not been above 82 here. So we don't actually get a lot of heat. But the rain, I was looking at my flower beds and today, and I've got things that are just not doing well because there's just so much rain. And
yeah, I planted some blueberries a month ago and they looked happy for a week, and then they started getting brown leaves and all the leaves fell off. And I did some research. It's because they don't like this much rain.
right. Yeah. So it's been that part has been challenging, but I go to the farmers market on the weekends and they seem to be having plenty of nice vegetables. So was there another question?
Yeah, but on the main, we've been lucky and escaped most of it. Alyssa asks about what we might be doing instead of SAF this year.
Oh, well, it makes us sad because SAF got scheduled for the same weekend as Rhinebeck. And, you know, at first I thought, well, maybe we can do it. And then I started counting up bodies and, you know, how many people we needed in order to do different shows, and the equipment that we need, and
the yarn,
and it just becomes it became obvious that it was not possible to do both the same weekend and do justice to either one. So, you know, we chose Rhinebeck because it is, you know, a big show for us, and it's important that we get, you know, that income at that time of the year. So what are we doing instead, or
for SAF?
Right, for SAF is that we will do a colorway that will be for SAF. I have been pondering, that means I've been trying to figure out how to connect with some people locally, and there may be a store or two that we try to get yarn to before, so that they would have it during SAF.
We're also doing the knit in Greenville, South Carolina. Is that right? In February.
right,
which is kind of generally in the same area-ish,
ish,
very ish. And so we're hoping to see some people there that we might have missed at SAF this year.
right. And let's see. Yeah, that's
And we'll have some specials over the weekend as well. That'll be, for both
Right.
shows.
right.
Um,
So that's sort of the plan, and more will evolve as time goes on. And if people have suggestions, we're also happy to hear them. Things may be possible or not possible. So that's sort of that. And hopefully next year it'll be on 2 separate weekends.
yeah. Yep.
So any other questions?
Not that I'm seeing.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and stop the recording and we can have our show and tell. Where is the button? There it is.